Hey guys, welcome to Tabletop Warbands. This will be our first match of 2022. Let's start by wishing you a happy new year. Hopefully it will be less problematic than the past two. In any case, in this video we are playing Warhammer 40k in a 500 points match that sees Death Guard vs Tyranids. I'm Simone and I will play Death Guard.
Hi, I'm Andrea and I will play the Tyranids. Before we started, if you are subscribed to the channel, welcome back. If you are not subscribed yet and want to help us, join our growing community now by clicking on the subscribe button. And don't forget to activate the bell so you don't miss the next battle reports. Thank you guys!
Today's mission is reconnaissance. The two armies will have to deploy within these two areas. There are 4 objectives and they are arranged in this way. As secondary objectives, Tyranids have chosen Slay the Warlord while we stand we fight and Recon Sweep taken from the mission, while the Death Guard has exactly the same 3. The match will last 5 rounds, at the end of which whoever has accumulated more victory points will win. Both armies start with 3 command points as both are organized as combat patrol.
Let's move on to the description of the armies. As a Tyranid fleet was preparing for the invasion on the planet Sartor, ships belonging to the Death Guard appeared out of nowhere and attacked the Hive fleet. Meanwhile, on the planet, the forces that had been sent ahead by the Tyranids are under attack by an army of Death Guard marines. My Tyranids belong to the Leviathan Hive fleet. As HQ, I chose a Hive Tyrant, equipped with monstrous bone swords, prehensile pincer tail, and 2 devours with brainleash worms. As warlord trait, I chose murderous scythes and monstrous bone swords as weapon of choice. As a relic, I assigned him the synaptic hive blades. It will be very useful against Typhus. Since big monsters are never enough, for this game I wanted to try the Tyrannofex armed with Fleshborer Hive, hoping that he will be able to do massive damage to the Death Guard ranks with his 40 dice. In addition, I use a command point for the stratagem Progeny of the Hive to give synaptic enhancement to the Tyrannofex. The next unit consists of 3 Tyrannid warriors armed with bone swords and satin talons. Having no ranged weapons, I can use them together with Hormagaunts to score points for the Recon Sweep secondary objective in the early turns. The Hormagaunts, 12 hungry creatures ready to slice through any enemy that comes their way. As mentioned earlier, I will use the Hormagaunts mainly to keep the main objectives and to do the Recon Sweep action of the secondary objective.
During an interstellar journey, the Death Guard stumbled upon a Tyranid fleet, a threat that is impossible to ignore or avoid. Typhus and his marines prepare to face the Red Hordes on the planet, attempting to wipe them out before they can regroup. Nobody will stop his advance. My Death Guard belong to the Plague Company Harbingers. The general of the army is Typhus, and as general trait he has Chamber Rot. He is armed with a master-crafted Man Reaper and Blight Grenades. He can try to manifest 2 psychic powers and knows Smite as base power plus 2 powers from the Contagion Discipline, Curse of the Leper and Plague Wind. The core of his army is composed by 7 marines. The Plague Champion is armed with Demonic Plague Blade and Plasma Gun. Then there are 1 Plague Marine armed with Blight Launcher, 1 Marine with Icon of Despair and Bolt Gun, 1 Marine with Plasma Gun, 1 with Sigil of Decay and 3 Marines with Bolt Gun. Every model in this unit also has Blight Grenades, Crack Grenades and Plague Knife. Supporting the troops, there's a Biologus Putrifier with Suppurating Plate as a relic. He is equipped with an Injector Pistol, Hyper Blight Grenades and Crack Grenades. Finally, there are 14 Poxwalkers armed with improvised weapons, whose sole purpose is to attract enemy fire and try to survive as long as possible. Every model in my army has an aura called Contagions of Nargol, and each round increases the contagion range, starting with 1 inch in the first round up to 9 inches after the 4th round. All the enemy models inside this ability have their toughness reduced by 1.
Being the defender, I prefer to deploy on the left side of the battlefield, as it is more covered. Given the very low movement speed of the Death Guard, I will try to eliminate the Poxwalkers with my Tyrannofex before they reach an objective, in order to make Simone control as few objectives as possible. Obviously, he has Typhus deployed in the teleporter, so I'll have to try not to move my units too far from one another and make sure to charge him as soon as he lands on the battlefield. If I manage to have the initiative, I would have a very high chance of winning this match without too much effort.
It seems to me that I got the less covered part of the battlefield. Of course, it's a classic. I've tried to position the units in a way that gives the Tyrannofex as few targets as possible. Typhus is deployed in support. He will arrive in the 2nd round and I will take advantage of the teleportation to put Andrea in difficulty, threatening the rear of his army. I really need to get the initiative or I might find myself playing defense.
Rolling for initiative. Not a good start.
Great, I can start first. In the first round, I don't have many moves available to do. Unfortunately, the Death Guard is mostly melee. I will have to try to get close to the Tyranids while staying in cover. The Biorgus is already positioned where it needs to be, in control of the objective. Also, being more than 9 inches from the center of the field, he can start performing the recon sweep action of my secondary objective. At the end of the round, he will earn 3 victory points for this quarter of the table. The Poxwalkers advance towards the objective. 5! Perfect! The unit can move 9 inches forward and position itself in control of the marker. I've arranged the Poxwalkers to have enough models in cover to reduce the risk of them disappearing in Andrea's shooting phase. My Marines instead move behind the crates for cover. Of all the units, this is the one I absolutely must be able to keep alive. The only ones who can do anything in this phase are the Plague Marines. Trying to focus their fire on one unit, all models target the Tyranid warriors. I use the stratagem Virulent Rounds for one command point. This way, their bolt guns acquire the Plague Weapon ability and it allows them to reroll the ones to wound. 4 bolt guns, 2 plasma guns and 1 Blight Launcher. Let's start with 4 shots of the bolt guns at 3. 2 hit! Strength 4, Toughness 4, Wounding at 4. 1 wound.
No penetration, so saving with 4. And that's a wound.
That's a nice start. We continue with 2 normal plasma shots at 3. Just 1. Strength 7 this time. So I wound with 3. Wounded! And now the Blight Launcher with 2 shots at 3. Rerolling the one with a command point. Nice! 2 hits! Wounding at 3. Reroll the dice because it's in a balance. 2 wounds.
Minus 2 penetration this time, so I need 6s. And that's 1 warrior dead and another left with 1 wound. Now, thanks to the Leviathan Fleet ability, I can roll a dice for every wound my Tyranids lose, and with a 6, they ignore that wound, rolling 6 dice at 6, and obviously, not a single one saved. This game just started so bad. He's gone, and he's left with 1 wound. Well, Simone is in control of 2 objectives, but the Poxwalkers should be easy to remove, as they have a saved roll of 7, and my Tyrannofax shoots 40 dice. So I think I'll go get objective 2 and try to take out some Marines with my Hive Tyrant. In the movement phase, my Harmagons begin the action of the secondary objective, the Recon Sweep. Being out of sight from the only unit that can fire, they can rest assured. My warriors advance to get the objective and with 3, they get there easily. My Hive Tyrant moves forward to enter 18 inches from the Marines. First, the Hive Tyrant tries to thin out the Marines by casting Smite. I roll 2d6 and with 5+, it is successful, and he does d3 damage. On a roll of 11, he makes d6 wounds instead. Let's see what happens. Just right, d3 mortal wounds. Just 1. Without wasting time, my leader also tries to manifest Psychic Scream. Rolling 2d6 and with 5, it deals d3 wounds. This succeeded too, d3 wounds. 1 again. This phase was so unlucky.
Actually, I would have expected many more deaths. It's fine to me.
Not happy with the result of the previous phase, my Hive Tyrant fires 12 shots at 3 on the Marines, trying to take out a few more casualties. Hitting 9. With greater strength, I wound at 3. 7 wounds.
No penetration, so I can save at 2 thanks to the cover. Perfect roll! No one is wounded!
Of course you do. Moving on with the Tyrannofax, who shoots twice on the Poxwalker because he has not moved in the previous phase, making 40 shots at 4 divided into 2 groups. First one, 10 out of 20 hits. Second one, 11 out of 20 for a total of 21 hits. Strength 5 and Toughness 4, wounding at 3. Wounding 8 in the first 10 dice, and 8 more in the second one for a total of 16 wounded out of 40.
The Poxwalkers have a saving throw of 7, but thanks to the cover I can save at 6. Okay, just 3 6s. Rolling for Unending Horde. For every 6 I ignore a wound. 3 more, for a total of 6 wounds saved. In the end, only 4 Poxwalkers are left alive. Or should I say, non-live. I don't know. Thanks to their ability Fodder, Poxwalkers automatically pass any moral test. If they had all been eliminated, I would have lost the objective and probably the game as well. Good job, lads. The first round went great. I was terrified of the damage Tyrannofax could do to me. Luckily, I managed to survive its shooting phase. Certainly, the Tyrant's somewhat sloppy psychic phase helped me too. In the next round, Typhus will arrive on the battlefield and at that point, it will be fun. Meanwhile, at the end of the first round, I earn 3 victory points.
Nice first round to forget. The only ones who have managed to do their job are the Harmagons, who have stood still. My Tyrannofex had missed too many shots and Simone managed to save all the Marines. Also, I'm practically left with one warrior alive. The worst thing is that now it's up to Simone again. If I manage to keep both objectives, the game would not be so disastrous. If Simone deploys Typhus this turn, I hope he doesn't reach my units, so that I can charge him with my leader and take him out easily.
In the second round, thanks to the two objectives I control, I reached 13 victory points. In the command phase, I used the stratagem The Death Walk again on the Poxwalkers for 1 command point. I rolled 76. For every 3+ I make, a model comes back to life. 5 Poxwalkers resurrect and relocate to the unit. Look how beautiful, they are like new. In the movement phase, the Poxwalkers move a little back in cover, but always remaining in control of the objective. The Biologus moves slightly to make sure it cannot be targeted by the Tyrannofex. The Black Marines leave their cover and approach the Tyranid Warriors, entering objective range with only one model. And finally, our dear Typhus arrives, directly in the rear of the Tyranids, just 9 inches off the Tyrannofex and the Ormagons. During the Psychic phase, Typhus manifests Curse of the Leper on the Ormagons at 7, due to the -1 caused by Shadow in the Warp. Yeah, fail. Damn Shadow. Rerolling with a command point. Oh, that's way better! I rolled 7 dice, for each 4+, it's a mortal wound. 5 mortal wounds!
Harmagons are in range of Synapse, so they can try to ignore wounds with 6. Just 1. 4 Harmagons dead, 8 left alive.
As second power, Typhus uses Black Wind on the remaining Ormagons again at 7 due to the Tyranid's ability. And of course, 6. Never mind. In the shooting phase, the Black Marines open fire on the Tyranid Warriors to finish the job they started last turn. Let's start with the Vulcans that are in short range, 6 shots at 3. 3 hit! Thanks to the Sigil of Decay, the 2 6s wound automatically. So I only roll 1 dice at 4. Great! 3 total wounds.
With 0 penetration, they save at 4+. 2 wounds through. Ignoring wounds with 6. Not even 1.
4 normal plasma shots at 3. 2 hit! Strength 7 and Toughness 4, I wounded 3. Both!
With -3 penetration, I can't save. Rolling directly to ignore. Not a single wound saved. And with this, the warrior's unit is taken out of the battlefield.
It's the charge phase. Typhus charges both Ormagons and Tyrannofex.
My Tyrannofex fires Overwatch for 1 command point. 20 shots at 6. Just 4. Same strength and toughness, so wound with 4. All wounded.
4 shots to save at 2+. There we go, Typhus looks great. I need a 10 to be able to charge, as Tyrannofex is slightly behind the Ormagons. Oh boy, double 6! Typhus is ready to play with his new toys. Come to daddy!
Of course he rolled double 6.
It's totally pointless to focus on the Tyrannofex as he has too many wounds to take out in one turn. So Typhus turns his attention to the Ormagons. I use the stratagem Befouled Incubators for 1 command point. For each enemy model eliminated, I roll a d6. For every 3+, his unit suffers an additional mortal wound, up to a maximum of 3. My goal is to completely eliminate these monsters and take control of the objective.
Before the fight begins, I use 1 command point for the stratagem Caustic Blood. For each eliminated model, I roll a d6. For every 6, the unit that inflicted the wounds suffers a mortal wound.
Typhus uses the sight weapon and makes 12 attacks at 2+ against the Ormagons. 9 hit! Thanks to the Nargos gift, the Ormagan's toughness is reduced by 1, which means I wounded 2. 9 wounds!
I try to ignore the wounds with 6. Not even 1. Let's see this stratagem if it can do some damage to Typhus. For every 6, I inflict a mortal wound. I don't believe it. How is it possible? Not a single 6. Again? It's up to my Tyrannofex that piles in on Typhus to get into objective range and unleashes 4 attacks on 4, hitting them all. Strength 7, Toughness 5, means wound with 3.
That's a joke, isn't it? Saving with 3 for the -1 penetration? Saved!
Great! In this round, I get 0 victory points thanks to the objectives I don't control, and now I also have to get away from the Marines in order to take out Typhus.
At the start of Andrea's movement phase, Typhus gives the Tyrannofex a small gift. Thanks to the ability Chamber Rot, I roll a d6. On a 4+, the monster suffers a mortal wound. On a 6, it suffers d3 wounds instead. 6! Lovely! d3 wounds? 2! Sounds good to me.
I try to ignore the wounds with 6. Not even this time. 12 wounds left to the Tyrannofex. My Hive Tyrant moves in the direction of the enemy leader in order to charge him. In the Psychic phase, my Hive Tyrant tries to manifest Smite and Psychic Scream on Typhus, both at 5 to pass. Starting with Smite, 6.
Typhus decides to attempt to block the Psychic power. I need 7 or more. That's it! Blocked! You shall not cast!
Okay, if he can cast, he will yell at you. Psychic Scream at 5. With 6, it goes through. The 3 wounds. Just 1, as always. Since Typhus is a psychic character, I roll 2 dice. If the result is higher than the target's leadership, I select a random enemy power and he will no longer be able to use it. Yes, let's see the random power. 1. Typhus can no longer cast Smite.
1 wound to you, my friend.
In the shooting phase, the Tyrannofex, being a monster, can shoot despite being in close combat, but with a -1 to hit for the heavy weapon. 30 dice at 5, divided into 2 groups. 7 in the first one, and 6 in the second, for a total of 13 hits, wounding at 4. Nice! 11 out of 13. Not bad.
Saving 11 dice at 2. This is hard. Or not! All saved! It's incredible!
Okay, charge phase. Can I do this at least? Please? Just to be sure, I use a common point for the stratagem Hive Instinct. Having a friendly model in close combat with Typhus, I can roll 3 dice instead of 2 and discard the lowest dice. I need 8 to be able to reach him. Rerolling with the last common point. Oh, finally! He's in combat. And now, you cry. My awesome Hive Tyrant makes 5 attacks on 2, which ignore the target's invulnerable save thanks to the relic Synaptic Hive Blades. All hit. Strength 7, Toughness 5, wounding with 3. 4 wounds.
-3 penetration, so 4 wounds to save at 5+. Unfortunately, 1 is not enough and Typhus has to leave the battlefield. Okay, after saving all those shots during the shooting phase, I was hoping he could at least survive until the next round. Now, that's a big problem.
Killed Typhus, my leader consolidates 3 inches towards the Marines.
I have no more victory points to score at the end of the round, so I'm staying at 13. Although I have control of 3 out of 4 objectives, leading by many points at the start of the next round, having lost Typhus already in the second turn puts me in a position of extreme difficulty. I no longer have units suitable for killing the Hive Tyrant and the Tyrannofex. If Andrea manages to eliminate the Poxwalkers with the Tyrannofex, he could easily get back in game and with a victory in hand, and this I cannot allow.
Well, now that Typhus is no longer in the game, I have to go and get the rest of Simone's units, which are found practically on every corner of the battlefield. If my Tyrannofex finally took down the Poxwalkers, I might be able to equalize the victory points thanks to the secondary objectives. Let's hope the dice stop making low numbers.
Okay guys, this may be the fastest turn in Warhammer 40k history. For sure it will be the fastest turn on this channel. First of all, thanks to the 3 primary objectives, I earned 15 victory points, reaching 28. The Black Marines start the Recon Sweep action in the second quarter of the table, and at the end of the round, it will earn me another 3 victory points. Unfortunately, having to carry out the action, they will not be able to do anything else. The Poxwalkers continue the important task of controlling the objective while staying in cover. The Putrifier does the same. He makes sure that the objective is under my control, far in need of who knows what diseases. That's it. Done. This is my turn.
Wow, don't get too tired. In this turn, as I said before, I must be able to eliminate the rest of Simone's unit, so my Hive Tyrant moves in the direction of the Marines, while the Tyrannofex remains stationary. In the Psychic phase, my leader tries once again to manifest Smite and Psychic Scream on the Marines, both on 5. Smite first, and fails miserably. Let's see the Psychic Scream. It worked. The 3 wounds. 3! At least this.
1 wound here, and you come with me.
Let's start right off with the Tyrant and his 12 hits at 3 on the Marines. 8 hits. Higher strength, so wounding with 3. All but 1.
They're not anymore in cover, so saving at 3. Okay, we can call it the perfect roll.
Of course you did save them all. Tyrannofex turn with 40 shots at 4 on the Poxwalkers. 11 out of the first 20 shots. Next group. 9 hit for a total of 20 out of 40. Wounding with 3. 16 wounded. That's really good.
The Poxwalkers are in cover, so I need a lot of 6s to save them. Just 4. Now I have to roll the failed dice again to try to ignore the wounds. I need 6 again. 4 more 6s! This means that at least one is still alive. This is what I needed, as the Poxwalkers automatically passed the morale test. I'm still in control of the objective! Well, what to say? I don't think I could have expected better from this round. The Poxwalkers survived against a whopping 40 hits. That's amazing, guys! Being able to keep control of the objective was very important, because now I can earn another 15 victory points in the next round. Also, thanks to the action carried out by the Marines, this turn I finished with 31 victory points. Not bad!
And once again, Simone managed to save the Poxwalkers. I am more and more sure that he has made the pact with Nargol himself, because those dice so far, in all the games we have used them, have brought bad luck. Also, my Hive Tyrant hasn't been able to do enough damage to the Marines, and so the only thing left for me to do is charge them in the next round and take the objective by force.
In the command phase, I earned 15 victory points, reaching 46 points total. Right now I feel extremely compelled to save the life of this little fellow here who did a miracle last turn, so he advances, and with a nice 4, he has enough movement to get out of sight of the Tyrannofex and still remain in control of the objective. The Marines move forward and position themselves just above the marker in order to get as close as possible for a charge. In the shooting phase, the Plague Marines target the Hive Tyrant in front of them. Let's start with the 2 Blight Launcher shots at 3. Both hit, Strength 6, Toughness 6 thanks to the Nargos gift, so I wound at 4. A wound!
Invulnerability save at 4, he's okay.
Having it with a Plague weapon, I use the stratagem Cyclic Corrosion for 2 command points. This stratagem allows me to reroll wound rolls of 1 until the end of the turn against the Hive Tyrant. 4 hits of the 2 bolt guns at 3. 3 hit! Wounding at 5. Just 1.
No penetration, so saving at 3. Too easy.
4 overcharged shots of the 2 plasma guns again at 3. 3 hits and no ones. Good! Strength 8, so this time I wound at 3. 2 wounds.
Invulnerability save at 4 again. You need more to kill my leader.
Andrea is most likely aiming to reach the objective, but I can stop him. My Marines attempt a charge against the Hive Tyrant. They need 8 to succeed. Exactly what I needed! The Plague Marines enter combat with the Tyrannid. In the fight phase, my Marines make 11 attacks at 3+ against the Hive Tyrant. 7, not bad! Wounding at 5 for the higher toughness. Rerolling the 1s thanks to the ability of the Plague weapons. 4 wounds!
Saving with 4 because of the -1 penetration. Just 2. Rolling to ignore the wounds with 6. Only 1. Just a scratch. 11 wounds left to my leader. Now it's my Hive Tyrant's turn to fight with his 5 attacks at 2. All but 1. Wounding with 3. Only 2. This is ridiculous.
-3 penetration, so I need 6 to save. I guess not.
And the last attack with his tail. 6. Wounding with 3 again. 6.
Saving at 3 this time. Third 6 in a row, nice! 2 Marines have died, but they have done their duty, and Andrea has no more chance of winning. Let's go, Death Guard! This match was really weird. Both armies had few units, and the mission had objectives far from each other, so we had to choose whether to fight for the objectives or try to fight the opponent. Double 6 on Typhus charge is probably the roll of dice that made me win the game. If I had failed the charge, I would have surely lost my main piece without doing any damage, and I could not have done anything but watch Andrea devastate my army. Sometimes the lucky dice happen to me too.
This is definitely a game to forget. I was just too unlucky with the dice. Yes, maybe it was a mistake using weapons with 0 penetration against the Death Guard, considering that they have a saving throw of 2 when in cover. But I wanted to try the Tyrannofex with that weapon so bad. In any case, if the game had lasted a few more turns, I could have eliminated all Simone's units for sure, and I would have brought home the victory. After all, I have the 2 strongest units on the patrol left. Next time, I'm sure the outcome of the battle will be different. My Tyrannids will not stop the invasion of the planet for a single defeat.
And with this, we conclude. Before we finish, however, we would like to thank you for all the support you have shown us so far. Reaching 2000 subscribers and so many views in just 9 months is something that we never expected. Thank you, with all our hearts. That said, if you like our content and want to help us grow the channel, we have an account on the platform Buy Me a Coffee where you can support us with donations. Any help you can give us to improve the channel is welcome. We are counting on you. The link is in the description.
And if you have come this far, write the number 2022 in the comments to let us know. You are the best, and if you are not yet subscribed, subscribe to the channel. If you liked the video, leave a like and write us in the comments. We are always curious to know what you think.
That's it, guys!
See you next video!